For a video today, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about this scene that I shot that looks pretty simple. It's this long one tracking shot on a gimbal of this woman, but it's got a few hidden interesting aspects that make it all work together really well. I'll speed through it a bit here, but when she gets out of her car, walks down this long corridor, you can see the camera arcs around, and then we follow down to the pitch, arc around her again, and then swings and hits this ball. So this scene is from a sort of art film portrait on this person, and it's a voiceover. She's talking about her personal stories, and we needed some footage to go with it. And my director friend Matt had this idea of doing it as one long shot where she gets out of the car, we follow with her, we don't really know what's going on, and then she gets down and hits this ball, which I thought was a great idea for this small budget that we had for this shoot. So we had to find this baseball pitch location that had the right distance to walk from the car to this sort of batting spot, or whatever you call it, to fit in this little 2.5 minute video that we were making. And this one spot here seemed to fit pretty well for what we needed. And then we just walk around and sort of test out the timing of the walk and see how long it took from the car to where the spot is and how fast she would have to go on the day, if it was long enough or too short.
And then no one's there, and then we kind of finish almost like right here, and then the ball comes in and bang, yeah.
We also wanted to shoot this sort of at the end of the day where the light was really nice and we had, only about a half an hour window to get it. And what was really good about this spot was that the sun set here in the background, so it worked really well for what we needed. So on the shoot day we used my red Komodo, and this was before I had my Alexa 35 camera, so we just used that. And then we used, I think it was a 25mm DZO Vespid prime lens, my little DZO lenses that I've got, and the Ronin 2 gimbal. So we also got there a couple of hours earlier before we wanted to start shooting, just to practice with the talent walking through and with the gimbal, and just to get all the timings right. And because she's under this roof, I knew there wasn't gonna be enough light getting in and reaching her face, so I thought we'd have to bring this light panel and use this. And this one here is the Intelitech Mega Light Cloth that I've got. Ideally, you'd have some bigger lights further away. We just didn't have the budget on this one. It was a really small budget. And then also just using like a white bounce wouldn't be enough. There's no light there to bounce off. So we had to have a light, and we had to walk with the light. At one point in the shot during the walk, we let her pass and then we arc around and follow her from behind. So at that point with the light, we just slowly pan it off as the camera arcs around so we wouldn't be front lit, and then we sort of get more of this darker silhouette. And you can see here on some takes, it wasn't soft enough and it felt a bit too sort of light saucy. So I just walked along with this cheap little fold out diffusion to soften everything off a little bit. So because we were shooting right at the end of the day, I knew at some point the daylight levels were going to get too dark, that the practical lights inside would be brighter and become more of a key light. So at that point we would have to switch the key light from coming from this side to over to this side, and for it to be more of a sort of tungsten green sort of color. So I had to just sort of judge it at some point, and you're looking at those practical lights on her face, and if that was doing more than what the daylight was doing, it got to that point, we just took 5 minutes and then reset what we were doing with the key light and put it on the other side. So at this moment here, where the camera arcs around her, the light would also have to do this huge 180-degree spin with the camera to get out of the way, and then the light would sort of pan off slowly as well as it's gone around. So it sort of looked like this with the camera and the light as it went around. And you would think that moving a light, 180 degrees around a person, you would see a light moving in the shot, but I found when you move the camera with a light, it sort of gets hidden in there and you don't really see it. And I remember several years ago, I got the opportunity to be on set with Roberto Schaefer, who's a huge DP who shot big James Bond movies and massive films. And they were doing this scene outside at nighttime, and they had a light panel similar, and steady camming with an actor, and the light panel was moving all over the place, and it looked great. And I remember seeing that and thinking like, wow, you can't see that the light is moving, and they sort of doing this dance with the camera, and if you do it right, it works well. And I've always remembered that. So then we follow her down to the pitch, which is all lit naturally with the lights that are on there. We just got the location to turn on all their lights that night, and it looks really nice, all glowing. And then we just arc around her again, and you see this great sky behind. And then the shot holds for a second, and then a ball comes in and she hits it. And that's a fake ball. We just thought we'd hate to get ourselves in a position of, only having this short 20-minute window to shoot this scene, getting the focus right, getting the gimbal movement right, getting the light right, all the panning, and then get to the end of this tracking shot, have someone off screen run in and throw a ball and they don't throw it right, or she misses it or something like that. So we just thought we want to remove all the possibilities of this shot not working out. So we thought that would be a better call to not do that on the day. So she just swings the bat, and then we use some highly advanced Hollywood special effects of me holding this ball, and we just sort of chucked it around a bit and called it a day. And then in post, we just sort of added it here, blurred it out a little bit. It's only like 3 frames. And then with some sound effects of the ball getting hit. These are not the sound effects that they used in the actual final thing, but I'll just put these in to show you how it helps tie everything together. And then finally, I just graded it. This is the Rec 709, and this is the look that I've made. And I sort of used No Country for Old Men as a bit of a reference. Not exactly, but it's sort of that dirty fluorescent green kind of look. And then what I've also done is, because fluorescent lights are quite different to what the pitch lighting was, I've sort of split the clip up a few times and faded between different grades. They're very similar, but they're just, tweaking for the different lighting conditions. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.